The Joreth had watched Earth for years from the darkness of space, their advanced technology, able to see the planet in ways no human could comprehend. They saw nothing special about it, nothing worth their time. It was a primitive world, a speck in the vastness of the galaxy, a resource waiting to be harvested. The Joreth saw the human race as little more than ants, and planned to crush it under their heels. As they had done to countless other worlds, they gathered their fleet, a massive armada of warships, and set a course for Earth. The invasion began without warning, a blinding flash, as their ships entered the atmosphere, tearing through the skies above the oceans and land below. The humans had no idea what was coming. At first, the humans didn't know what to do. Panic spread like wildfire. As cities were leveled and landmarks shattered, it seemed like the end of everything they knew. The Joreth moved quickly, their forces landing in major cities across the globe, their technology far superior to anything the humans had seen. Humans fought back. With everything they had, rifles, tanks, makeshift weapons, all turned toward the unstoppable force that was the alien invaders. They fought with desperation, with fear, but also with an unspoken resolve that the Joreth couldn't understand. Humanity did not bow, it did not break. It wasn't long before the Joreth realized they were dealing with something different. The humans would not be so easily defeated. Their tactics were unorthodox, unpredictable. They didn't fight like the Joreth expected. Their resistance was fierce and relentless. They didn't fight fair. They used everything around them, everything they had at their disposal, to inflict pain and damage. The humans had no regard for honor or rules. They simply wanted to survive. In the streets of New York, in the forests of the Pacific Northwest, in the deserts of Africa, the humans fought back in ways that left the Joreth stunned. They used the terrain, the environment, their own flaws and weaknesses to their advantage. They knew their land better than any invader ever could. The Joreth underestimated them, thinking they would break quickly. Instead, humanity dug in its heels and became a force to be reckoned with. They weren't just fighting for land, they were fighting for their very existence. The first great victory came in the ruins of Tokyo, where a small group of soldiers, engineers, and civilians managed to cripple one of the Joreth's command ships using nothing but stolen technology and sheer willpower. The explosion that followed sent shockwaves across the alien fleet. It wasn't a victory that would end the war, but it was enough to send a message: humanity was not an easy target. Humanity could fight back. The Joreth realized they had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated the humans in every way. They were strong in ways that the Joreth had never imagined, in ways that no other species had ever been. They adapted on the fly, learning from each encounter and growing stronger as the war waged on. And the invaders began to feel the weight of their arrogance. Humanity's wrath had been ignited, and now it would echo across the stars. As the Joreth pressed deeper into Earth, the human resistance grew stronger. Despite the overwhelming odds, people from every corner of the planet came together to fight. Governments, once divided by politics and borders, unified in the face of the alien threat. What had once seemed impossible became a reality. Entire nations set aside differences and combined their resources, creating a new global alliance focused on one goal: survival. The Joreth were relentless, but humanity was determined. The first few weeks of the invasion were chaotic. In the wake of the initial assault, the Joreth's advanced weaponry and overwhelming numbers left humanity on the back foot. Cities fell one after another, and large swathes of the planet's population were wiped out. Yet, in the midst of the destruction, humanity showed its resilience. Small pockets of resistance began to form, hidden in the rubble, in forests, and in underground bunkers. These groups refused to surrender. They fought with everything they had, using what little they could scrounge from the wreckage of their cities and alien technology. Human ingenuity became their greatest weapon. While the Joreth relied on superior firepower and advanced technology, the humans used their creativity to create unexpected advantages. Military leaders turned to guerrilla tactics, hitting the Joreth where it hurt the most. They ambushed supply lines, sabotaged communication networks, and struck at the heart of Joreth operations. Every time the aliens thought they had an advantage, the humans found a way to make them pay. In the remote mountains of South America, a team of scientists discovered a method to modify the Joreth's energy shields. They were able to turn their enemy's technology against them, creating a weapon that could penetrate the impenetrable. The first successful test of the new weapon took place in the dead of night, when a small group of soldiers used it to bring down a Joreth supply ship. It was a pivotal moment. The humans had taken the first real step toward turning the tide. Meanwhile, a young hacker in Eastern Europe infiltrated the Joreth's communication systems, gaining access to their military orders and tactics. This allowed the humans to anticipate the alien moves and counter them before they even began. As this information spread, coordinated strikes became more efficient, and the Joreth found themselves losing ground in key areas. The battle was no longer a matter of brute force. It was about intelligence, strategy, and above all, persistence. The tide of the war began to shift. Where the Joreth had once been unstoppable, they now faced a human enemy they could not predict. Every victory, no matter how small, was a symbol of hope. Humanity's spirit, unbroken by the relentless onslaught, began to resonate throughout the world. People fought not just for their homes, but for the generations to come, for the future of their species. The Joreth could not understand this drive. In all their years of conquest, they had never encountered an enemy that fought with such passion. But while humanity's resistance grew, so did the Joreth's desperation. The aliens, who had once thought Earth an easy target, began to realize their mistake. They underestimated the human will to survive, and now they had awakened a force they could not control. Their fleet began to suffer heavy losses, and the first signs of a rift within the Joreth leadership began to show. Some commanders suggested retreating, while others urged a harsher approach. The division within their ranks reflected the uncertainty that was beginning to seep into their once imposing empire. In the shadows of war, humanity's resolve was proving to be the greatest weapon they had. The Joreth had expected to crush them in days, but instead they were learning the hard truth. Humanity would not be easily defeated. The war was far from over, but the first cracks had appeared in the seemingly indestructible facade of the Joreth, and for the first time, the humans could see a glimmer of hope. As the war against the Joreth continued, humanity's resilience and ingenuity began to shine even brighter. The initial shock of the invasion had passed, and what remained was a planet united by the will to survive. Across the globe, resistance movements grew stronger, more organized, and increasingly effective. No longer was it just about survival, it was about winning. The fight was no longer a desperate struggle against a far superior enemy, but a war of attrition where humanity was beginning to gain ground. One of the most significant developments came from the collaboration between humanity's scientists and engineers. They poured their efforts into understanding and reverse engineering Joreth technology, using the scraps of their ships and weapons to create new systems. What once seemed impossible became within reach as human innovation took over. A group of engineers in Europe discovered how to adapt the Joreth's energy shields, repurposing them to defend human bases. Soon, cities that had once been vulnerable to alien bombardment stood strong against the Joreth's overwhelming firepower. The tide was turning, and humanity was proving they could learn, adapt, and fight with a brilliance that had the aliens scrambling. At the same time, humans discovered something even more powerful, something that shook the Joreth to their core. A group of archaeologists, digging through ancient ruins in Egypt, uncovered a hidden cache of alien artifacts. These relics, believed to be from a long-lost civilization, were not like anything the Joreth had ever seen. They were technology far beyond their own, and far beyond humanity's. The discovery of these artifacts sparked a new kind of war, a war of discovery, as scientists and military leaders raced to understand the full potential of this ancient power. Humanity had stumbled upon a weapon that could not only rival the Joreth's, but potentially surpass it. With this newfound power, humanity's forces began to develop weapons that matched and even exceeded the Joreth's technology. New energy weapons were deployed in battle, capable of cutting through the toughest Joreth armor with ease. Modified human-made starships, armed with alien tech, became a serious threat in space, forcing the Joreth to rethink their tactics. The Joreth had once thought they could crush humanity in a matter of weeks, but now they were facing a human enemy that was evolving at an extraordinary rate. The Joreth began to realize the true nature of their mistake. They had underestimated the potential of humanity not just to survive, but to adapt and rise in the face of adversity. In the streets, civilians became fighters. They used everything at their disposal: tools, vehicles, and even scavenged parts from downed Joreth ships. A small group of rebels in Asia successfully infiltrated an alien base, planting explosives in key areas and crippling the Joreth's logistics. It was a victory that caught the attention of the entire resistance movement. People across the world began to believe that they could win, that the Joreth were not invincible after all. Yet, while humanity fought back with unparalleled determination, the Joreth faced internal struggles of their own. The once unified empire began to fracture as the Joreth leadership argued over their next move. Some commanders, realizing the might of humanity, suggested a more diplomatic approach, but others argued for total destruction. The division in their ranks only made them weaker, and the cracks in their empire became more visible as humanity continued to resist with increasing strength. As the months passed, the war transformed. What began as a hopeless struggle had become a fight for victory. Humanity was no longer just holding on. They were pushing back, driving the Joreth off their land, and reclaiming territory one battle at a time. The Joreth, who had once looked upon Earth as an easy conquest, were now facing a fight that they may not win. Humanity had shown them that they would never be easily defeated, and for the first time since the invasion began, the Joreth began to fear the humans. As the war dragged on, the Joreth began to grow desperate. They had underestimated humanity from the start, and now they were paying the price. In their frustration, they deployed their most terrifying weapon, the Doomspire. A massive orbital station, the Doomspire was designed to obliterate entire cities with a single strike, its energy beams capable of turning anything in their path into ash. It was the Joreth's ultimate weapon, and they intended to use it to wipe humanity off the map once and for all. The first attack came without warning. The sky darkened as the Doomspire's energy beams rained down upon the Earth's largest cities. Paris, London, New York. Each city was obliterated in a matter of seconds. The devastation was catastrophic. Millions of people died in an instant, and entire civilizations were reduced to rubble. For a moment, it seemed as if the Joreth might finally win. The sheer scale of destruction left humanity reeling. But even in the face of such overwhelming horror, humans did not give up. While the survivors were shaken, they were not broken. Across the globe, leaders of the human resistance rallied their forces. Humanity had seen the depths of alien cruelty, and now they had a single focus: to stop the Doomspire. The destruction of their cities had only fueled the fire of rebellion. The Joreth had made a fatal mistake. They had underestimated humanity's ability to endure even the darkest of times. Humanity's scientists worked tirelessly, pooling their knowledge and skills to find a way to fight back. They understood that conventional methods wouldn't be enough. They needed something more, something that could take down the Doomspire and strike at the heart of the Joreth's power. And then they found it. Hidden within the ancient artifacts uncovered earlier, they discovered a powerful energy source, one that could match the destructive force of the Doomspire. It was a risky move, but humanity had no other choice. They had to act quickly before the Joreth used the weapon again. The plan was daring, a mission that would put everything on the line. A small group of elite soldiers, led by the best minds humanity had to offer, was tasked with infiltrating the Joreth's command ship, which orbited the Earth. The mission was clear: disable the Doomspire's core before it could fire again. The team knew that failure meant certain death, but they had no other choice. The stakes were too high. In the dead of night, they launched their assault. The team snuck past the Joreth's defenses, using the alien technology they had learned to adapt. The journey was perilous, with Joreth soldiers everywhere, but the humans were determined. They fought their way through the alien ship, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Every moment was a battle for survival, and they pushed forward with one goal in mind: to reach the core of the Doomspire and shut it down. At last, they reached the heart of the weapon. The core was heavily guarded, and the final push was the most dangerous of all. But with the Joreth distracted by the humans' relentless assault on their forces, the team managed to breach the core's defenses. In a final desperate move, they detonated an explosive device, disabling the Doomspire's power source and rendering the weapon useless. The energy beams ceased, and for the first time in months, the world could breathe. However, the victory came at a steep price. Many of the soldiers didn't make it out alive, and the survivors returned to Earth as heroes, but with heavy hearts. The Doomspire was destroyed, but the war was far from over. The Joreth were not going to surrender, not yet. The battle for Earth had entered a new phase, one that would require every ounce of humanity's strength to win. But for the first time, the Joreth knew they had made a grave mistake. The humans were not just fighting to survive. They were fighting to win. And they would not stop until the stars themselves echoed with the wrath of humanity. With the Doomspire destroyed, the Joreth were thrown into chaos. Their once invincible weapon was no more, and their plans were in ruins. Yet the alien invaders were not ones to give up easily. They regrouped quickly, retreating to their remaining strongholds scattered across the planet. But humanity's resolve had hardened, and the taste of victory was sweet, even though the war was far from over. The human resistance knew that the destruction of the Doomspire had been a turning point, but it was only one battle in an ongoing war. The Joreth had powerful fleets, advanced technology, and a vast empire behind them. Humanity's greatest asset was their unity and their unyielding spirit. They had lost cities, loved ones, and entire regions of the world, but they had gained something more important. They had gained confidence. They had shown the aliens that they could be defeated, that the Joreth were not invincible. As the resistance grew stronger, so did their tactics. The Joreth had relied on overwhelming force, thinking it would crush humanity's will. But the humans had learned to fight with precision, using guerrilla tactics, sabotage, and surprise attacks. In the heart of Europe, a group of resistance fighters orchestrated a daring raid on a Joreth supply depot, wiping out crucial resources and sending shockwaves through the alien ranks. In Africa, a coordinated strike by local militias managed to cripple an entire Joreth battalion, forcing the invaders to fall back. Meanwhile, on the diplomatic front, the Joreth were facing internal strife. Their leadership, once unified in their conquest, was now fractured. Some factions called for a renewed offensive, desperate to reclaim what they had lost. Others, seeing the strength of humanity's resistance, began to question whether Earth was worth the cost. The cracks in their once impenetrable empire deepened with each passing day. Yet even as humanity's victories piled up, the true cost of the war began to show. Cities lay in ruin, vast portions of the planet's ecosystem had been destroyed, and millions of lives had been lost. The war was far from over, and the Joreth still held a significant advantage. The human race was running on fumes, fueled by a desire for vengeance and survival, but the toll was undeniable. The question on everyone's mind was simple: how much longer could they keep fighting? In the midst of this uncertainty, a new weapon emerged, one that was unlike anything the Joreth had encountered before. A group of human scientists, working under the leadership of Dr. Eleanor Hayes, had developed a powerful bioweapon designed to turn the tide of the war. Unlike the technological advancements that had previously been used, this weapon was biological, a virus that could target the Joreth's unique physiology. Early tests showed promising results. The virus spread rapidly among the alien invaders, weakening their immune systems and making them vulnerable to human attacks. But the creation of such a weapon came with its own moral dilemmas. Dr. Hayes and her team wrestled with the ethics of unleashing a virus that could wipe out an entire species. They knew that it could end the war, but at what cost? Was humanity any better than the invaders if they resorted to such extreme measures? The decision was made reluctantly, with heavy hearts, but in the end, survival won out. The virus was unleashed. The Joreth were caught off guard. Within weeks, their numbers began to dwindle as the virus spread rapidly through their ranks. The alien invaders, once so confident in their superiority, were now faltering. The virus attacked their immune systems, leaving them vulnerable and weakened. For the first time, the humans saw the alien forces begin to retreat. But despite the success of the bioweapon, the war was not over. The Joreth were far from finished, and humanity knew that they would have to be prepared for the final battle. Victory was within reach, but the cost of winning was becoming increasingly unclear. As the Joreth forces began to retreat, humanity's resolve was tested. The bioweapon had dealt a significant blow, but the war was far from over. The Joreth were not a species to surrender easily. They would regroup, adapt, and return with renewed strength. The human resistance knew that they had to act swiftly to capitalize on their advantage and prevent the Joreth from reorganizing. In the United States, General Marcus Hayes convened a council of military leaders and scientists to formulate a strategy. The consensus was clear. They needed to strike at the heart of the Joreth's command structure. Intelligence gathered from intercepted communications revealed the location of the Joreth's central command ship, a massive vessel orbiting the moon. Destroying it would cripple their ability to coordinate and potentially end the war. The mission was perilous. The Joreth's command ship was heavily guarded, and the journey through space was fraught with dangers. Yet the human spirit was unyielding. A coalition of nations volunteered their best pilots, engineers, and soldiers for the task. Among them was Captain Elena Rodriguez, a decorated pilot known for her exceptional skills and unwavering courage. She was chosen to lead the mission, a responsibility she accepted with a heavy heart but a steadfast determination. The team embarked on their journey aboard the newly constructed starship Vanguard, equipped with the latest human and alien technology. The voyage to the moon was tense, with every crew member aware of the stakes. As they approached the Joreth command ship, they encountered a formidable defense perimeter. The Joreth had anticipated such an attack and had deployed a fleet of warships to protect their command center. Captain Rodriguez made a split-second decision. She ordered the Vanguard to engage the Joreth fleet, drawing their attention away from the main assault force. The decoy tactic worked, allowing the infiltration team to slip past the defenses and board the command ship. The team, led by Lieutenant David Kim, infiltrated the Joreth vessel, using their knowledge of alien technology to disable security systems and navigate through the complex interior. Inside the command ship, the team faced numerous challenges. They encountered Joreth soldiers, automated defense mechanisms, and unfamiliar terrain. Yet their training and determination saw them through. They planted explosives at critical points, aiming to destroy the ship's core and prevent the Joreth from escaping. As the team made their way to the core, they encountered the Joreth commander, a towering figure exuding authority and menace. A fierce battle ensued, with the team using every tactic at their disposal to overcome the formidable foe. In the end, it was Captain Rodriguez who delivered the decisive blow, using a combination of human ingenuity and alien technology to defeat the commander. With the core destroyed and the command ship in disarray, the team made a hasty retreat. They rendezvoused with the Vanguard, which had successfully held off the Joreth fleet, and made their way back to Earth. The mission was a resounding success, delivering a crippling blow to the Joreth's ability to coordinate their forces. The victory was celebrated worldwide, but the human resistance knew that the war was not yet won. The Joreth were a formidable enemy, and they would not be easily defeated. However, the destruction of their command ship was a significant setback, and humanity had proven that they could strike at the heart of the Joreth Empire. The path to victory was now clearer, and the human spirit burned brighter than ever. As the human resistance prepared for the final assault on the Joreth's central command ship, the weight of their mission settled heavily upon them. The journey to the moon was perilous, and the risks were immense. Yet the resolve of humanity was unwavering. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood before her assembled crew, her face a mask of determination. "We've come this far," she began, her voice steady. "The Joreth thought they could crush us, but we've shown them our strength. This mission isn't just about destroying their command ship. It's about sending a message. We will not be subjugated. We will fight for our home, for our families, for our future." Her words resonated with the crew, igniting a fire within them. They knew the odds were against them, but they also knew that humanity's greatest strength was its unyielding spirit. Together, they boarded their spacecraft, ready to face whatever awaited them in the vast expanse of space. The journey to the moon was fraught with challenges. Navigating through asteroid fields, evading Joreth patrols, and enduring the isolation of space tested their endurance. Yet, each obstacle only strengthened their resolve. They were not just soldiers. They were the last line of defense for their planet. As they approached the Joreth's command ship, the enormity of the task ahead became apparent. The ship was a colossal structure, bristling with advanced weaponry and defenses. It was a fortress in space, and breaching it would require every ounce of their ingenuity and courage. Captain Rodriguez initiated the attack sequence. "All systems are go," reported Lieutenant Jameson, the ship's tactical officer. "Engaging Joreth defenses now." The crew sprang into action, executing their meticulously planned strategy. They deployed decoys to draw fire, used cloaking technology to infiltrate the ship's perimeter, and launched precision strikes to disable key systems. The Joreth retaliated with ferocity, but the humans were relentless. Inside the command ship, the Joreth commanders were caught off guard by the human assault. They had underestimated humanity's capacity for warfare and resilience. As the humans breached the ship's interior, the Joreth scrambled to mount a defense, but their efforts were disorganized and ineffective. Captain Rodriguez led her team through the labyrinthine corridors of the command ship, encountering pockets of resistance. Each encounter was a testament to the Joreth's desperation and the humans' determination. They fought not just for survival, but for the future of their species. Finally, they reached the central control room. The Joreth commander, a towering figure, stood before them, flanked by elite guards. "You are brave," the commander said, his voice a low growl. "But your efforts are futile. This ship is invincible." Captain Rodriguez met his gaze unwaveringly. "We don't need invincibility," she replied. "We have something you don't: the will to fight for our home." With a coordinated effort, the human team engaged the Joreth guards, overcoming them with a combination of superior tactics and sheer willpower. They reached the command console, and Lieutenant Jameson initiated the self-destruct sequence. "Self-destruct in 5 minutes," the computer announced. The team made their way back to their spacecraft, narrowly escaping the explosion that obliterated the Joreth's command ship. As they watched the debris scatter into space, a sense of accomplishment washed over them. They had struck a decisive blow against the invaders. But the war was not over. The Joreth would regroup, adapt, and retaliate. The human resistance knew that this victory was just one chapter in a longer struggle. Yet it was a victory that proved humanity's resilience, ingenuity, and unwavering spirit. They had faced the darkness of space, confronted an overwhelming enemy, and emerged victorious. And as long as they stood united, they would continue to fight. For they knew that the stars themselves would echo with the wrath of humanity. As the human resistance celebrated their hard-won victory, a somber realization settled over them. The Joreth were not the only threat lurking in the cosmos. The universe was vast, and humanity had just made its presence known. The balance of power had shifted, and with it came new challenges and responsibilities. In the aftermath of the war, Earth began the arduous task of rebuilding. Cities were reconstructed, ecosystems restored, and communities reunited. The scars of the conflict were deep, but humanity's resilience shone through. The lessons learned from the war were invaluable, and the human race emerged stronger and more united than ever before. The United Nations, once a symbol of human cooperation, was restructured to form the United Earth Federation, UEF. This new organization was tasked with overseeing the reconstruction efforts, ensuring peace, and preparing humanity for the future. The UEF established the Earth Defense Initiative, EDI, a unified military force dedicated to protecting Earth from any future threats. Captain Elena Rodriguez, now a hero and symbol of humanity's indomitable spirit, was appointed as the commander of the EDI. Her leadership during the war had been exemplary, and her experience was invaluable in the new role. Under her guidance, the EDI began to train a new generation of soldiers, scientists, and diplomats, all committed to safeguarding Earth and its interests. As the years passed, humanity's exploration of space expanded. The knowledge gained from the war with the Jorith was applied to develop advanced technologies, enabling humans to venture further into the cosmos. Colonies were established on Mars, the Moon, and beyond, each serving as a testament to human ingenuity and determination. However, the universe was not without its dangers. The remnants of the Jorith Empire, though shattered, still posed a threat. Rogue factions and warlords emerged, seeking to reclaim their former glory. The UEF, under Captain Rodriguez's leadership, remained vigilant, ready to defend humanity against any who would threaten its peace. In the distant reaches of space, a new challenge arose. A mysterious signal was detected, originating from a region of the galaxy previously unexplored. The signal was complex and seemed to carry a message, but its meaning was unclear. The UEF assembled a team of the brightest minds to decipher the signal and determine its source. As the team worked tirelessly, they uncovered a startling revelation. The signal was a distress call from an ancient civilization, one that had existed long before humanity. The civilization had been destroyed by a cataclysmic event, but their message had endured, waiting to be discovered. The discovery of the ancient civilization's message was a turning point for humanity. It served as a reminder of the fragility of civilizations and the importance of unity and cooperation. The UEF pledged to honor the memory of the lost civilization by ensuring that humanity would not repeat their mistakes. Captain Rodriguez, now an admiral, stood before the assembled leaders of the UEF. "We have faced adversity and emerged stronger," she said. "But we must never forget the lessons of the past. Our strength lies not in our weapons, but in our unity and our unwavering spirit. Together, we will face whatever challenges the universe presents, for we are humanity, and our story is just beginning." The stars above seemed to shimmer in agreement, as if acknowledging the promise of a future filled with hope, exploration, and the enduring legacy of humanity's resilience.